Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Heaven, a necromantic dating sim. Let's go ahead and continue on with Izaki's memories. When you open your eyes, you see a polished wooden floor and the familiar decorations of its son's dojo again. You're sitting cross-legged at the front of the class, watching Izam deliver a lecture about conduct, respect, and its expectations for each of his students. Wait, is this the same? When Izam calls for a volunteer, you feel your arm shoot up. What? No, I wouldn't. That's when you realize that your forearms are wrapped in bandages. Long, dark hair spills over your shoulders, and you see the enamel lotus pin on your waist. I'm in Izaki's body. Izam points at you and motions for you to approach. Izaki stands up, and you feel yourself walking toward Izam. As you do, you hear a voice. Alright, don't screw this up. Go through the drill and show Izam what you've learned. But, are those Izaki's thoughts? I think so. The human body contains hidden depths and subtle dimensions of power. In this class, we explore these depths hands-on. For example, when I ask Initiate Ito here to attack me, Izam motions for Izaki to advance, and she rushes at him with surprising ferocity. She throws a punch, but in the blink of an eye, her feet leave the floor and the ceiling wheels overhead as Izam grabs her arm and throws her. She lands hard, but she manages to get her legs under her and leap to her feet. You feel a lingering sense of vertigo, but Izaki doesn't sway or tremble at all. Izam nods to Izaki, and she gets back to the row of students and sits back down. Izam goes over a few more ground rules for the dojo, then begins pairing the new students with the more senior ones for partner exercises. Initiate Ito, you partner with that one, Initiate Zini. I expect he'll need some extra attention. Yes, sir. Izaki walks up to a student you recognize. Yourself. Oh wow, it's us again, in our dojo uniform. The first exercise is wrist circling. Grasp your partner's wrists. One partner should have their palms up, the other should have their palms down. The partner on the bottom will rotate their wrist and arm to shift their grasp, turning the partner's arm in turn so that it rotates to the bottom, and then we repeat. Izaki tightens the bandages on her arms, and lays out her hands, palm up. You watch the other UZO gingerly grip her arms. He has no strength in his grip at all. Either that or he's scared. Your double raises his eyes to Miyazaki's. You can see the trepidation in his gaze. Of course I can get stuck with someone like this. Izam handpicked him for me because he's hopeless. Whoever has their hands on the bottom rotates their wrist. Izaki lets go of her doppelganger's arm, moves her hand to the inside, and then grips the top of his arm, forcing him to flip his arms over. And then you do the same. The other UZO mimics her movements by twisting his wrist, moving it to the inside of her arm, and wrapping his fingers around her arm. He's trying to watch my hands to figure out the pattern. That's not good. He should do it by feel. Don't look at your hands, look at me. The other UZO raises his eyes again, meeting your and Izaki's fake gaze. I remember staring into those eyes for the first time. She seemed so intense, like there was a storm going on just under the surface. When you get more experienced, your hands will do this automatically, It becomes an instinct. You won't hesitate, you'll just do it naturally. He's lucky that he was paired with me and not one of the other senior students. They're crueler than me, or they just don't care. How long have you been a student here? God, I hate small talk. Oh well. 2 years. Has it really been that long? I suppose it has. Wow. So what's your focus of study? Physical augmentation. Physical augmentation. Izagi keeps her gaze locked on the other UZO's eyes, as if she's trying to wear him down. He's not looking away, like most of the other junior students. At least he has that going for him. What's augmentation training like? I hate this. It's like teaching children. All of them want to talk instead of focusing on their movements. If I could just show Izan that I'm ready, I could get out of the entry-level courses and train with real martial artists. But he'll never do that, because Ino keeps telling him that I'm behind in my drills. God, seeing her again makes me so fucking mad. She cursed. Izagi cursed. Enough of all that. Only get worked up and hurt this guy. What did he ask? What's physical augmentation like? Have you ever treaded water? Yeah, I've treaded water. Here they have you tread water with a heavy brick in your arms, so you can only kick with your feet. It forces you to just keep your head above water. When you get good at that, they give you another brick. With 2 bricks, the only thought in your head is trying not to drown. Your head spends most of the time below the water instead of above it. All you can do is break the water, take a quick gulp of air, then go back down. That's what augmentation training is like. The other UZO laughs nervously. That's hilariously awkward from Izagi's perspective. Do you have any tips? Tips for martial arts? What am I supposed to say? If he's here and asking for tips, he's already beyond help. Might as well give him a wake-up call. You've never done any hard labor like farming or rough work, right? Yeah, I guess not. How can you tell? Because your hands feel like a baby's, you idiot. Your hands are soft, except your fingertips. Did you play an instrument? I did. Just a bit of violin, as a hobby. How many years? 3 years, I think. 3 years isn't very long for practicing something. I poured tea for 6 years, and I hated that. The only things worth having need a lifelong commitment. That's my only advice. That's enough warming up. Time for the next exercise. Izagi lets go of your double's wrists. His arms fall back to his sides, and Izagi stretches her arms behind her head. I just realized, since we're inside Izagi, the music's a little muffled. Interesting. We'll tackle form later. For now, let's see his bare bones fundamentals and see how bad the damage is. Izagi drops her arms and nods toward the other UZO. Alright, I want to see your straight punch. Your double takes up a sloppy, uncertain stance and throws out a half-hearted punch. Oh, for the love of God. Put some force behind it, like you're punching through a wall. Your doppelganger punches again, marginally harder. It's still pathetic. Maybe I'll switch things up a little from the usual. Okay, forget it. Just stand up straight. There. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap one arm around your neck and put you in a headlock. When I do, I want you to elbow me in the stomach as hard as you can. Either elbow will be fine. Choose the one you're strongest with. Wait, what? The other UZO's eyes are wide. It looks like he's not sure if Izagi is serious. Okay, I overdid it. I need to calm him down a little. It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you. And you're not going to hurt me either. Your punches are very, very weak. And I'm betting it's because you're not used to punching things. It's not good. In fact, it's really bad. A lot of people come here having done a lot of exercises and training, but they don't know how to exert their bodies. If you don't know the limits of your body, then you can't perfect it. I want you to hit me as hard as you can so that you can get a feel for using your muscles. Elbows are safer than punches. I can take a few elbows to the gut. But why do you have to put me in a headlock? I think I missed that part. Izagi sighs and crosses her arms. I don't have time to get you comfortable with striking with full force. So the next best thing is to trick your body into doing it by putting it in a desperate position. Isn't there another way to do it? This is the safest way, actually. Come on, it'll take less time than we spent talking about it. He doesn't trust me. But he doesn't have many other options. Too bad for him. Either he sinks or swims. Trust me, you're going to be able to breathe. The other UZO's face shifts from alarm to wariness. You can see Izagi's words penetrating the thin layer of fear. Alright, fine. Just choke me out. Izagi nods and walks behind him, flipping some strands of hair away from her face. Alright, you beanpole, let's see what you got. Izagi takes up her place behind her doppelganger and wraps one arm around his neck, and locks her other arm against her wrist to hold it in place. Damn it, you can probably feel my chest against his shoulder blades. Oh, let's not going to be thinking about that when he's struggling for breath. Ready? Yeah, go for it. Izagi flexes her arms, and her face comes to rest against the other UZO's head. Immediately, he sees his body tense up as he feels the pressure on his neck. Can you breathe? Yeah. I'm going to tighten a little more, and then I want you to hit me as hard as you can, okay? Okay. Izagi gazes at the polished wooden floor and tightens her arm around the other UZO's neck. Suddenly, Izagi's whole frame is rocked by a blow from the front, then another. She grunts and adjusts her grip slightly. 3 more blows follow, and each one seems to strike harder than the last. Okay, not bad. That actually hurt a little. He's using his whole body to throw those jabs, which is good. Are you striking with just one arm, or are you using your other hand to help you drive your elbow backward? Oh, sorry. Izagi loosens her headlock. Your double sucks in a deep breath. I'm grabbing my wrist with my other hand, and using that to ram my elbow back. Good, keep going, but be careful of your shoulders. Don't strain them. Izagi tightens her arm again, and you see the other UZO's neck muscles flex. More blows hit Izagi's stomach, making her head rock backwards with each impact. This time, however, she glances down at her feet after a few strikes. He's got his right leg intertwined with mine, so his right foot is on the outside of my foot. That's a stance used to throw an opponent who's got you headlocked. He's doing it in a weird way. Where do you learn that? Another elbow drives into Izagi's stomach, and you hear a grunt from exertion. He's twisting his torso to get the full force. Even though I'm holding his shoulders as closely as I can, that's a sign of experience. Alright, that's good. Izagi lets go of the other Uzo's neck and brushes off her arms. He wipes his neck with the backs of his hands and takes another deep breath. Did I hurt you? I'll be honest, I was really trying. Kinda did. I'll probably have another bruise, but that's okay. I feel compelled to ask though. Most martial arts instructors don't teach students wrestling techniques, especially not ones for standing headlocks. Do you have experience with those? I guess you could say that. I haven't had much formal training, but I learned a couple of tricks. Getting out of headlocks was one of them. I see. Couple of tricks? That's not the answer I was expecting. Well, now that you're not afraid of using force, try punching me in the sternum. Really? Yes, really. I need to see your technique, not just your strength. Especially your posture. Alright. Here we go. Her double stands across Izagi. He cocks back his right arm. He throws a step punch at her chest, but Izagi doesn't budge or even make a sound. Again, but with your other arm. Another punch strikes from the ribs. He wasn't lying about formal training. He doesn't even know how to punch someone. Even if I can correct his technique, his instincts are all wrong. You see your doppelganger take a deep breath, then ram his fist into Izagi's chest. There's a wet cracking sound, and Izagi gasps. She looks down, and you see the other Uzo's arm buried in Izagi's ribs up to his forearm. Blood trickles from the wound, and Izagi's hands clutch at the other Uzo's wrist. Oh god. Oh god. Izagi looks toward your doppelganger's face, but his expression is cold and blank. You see his shoulder move slightly, trying to pull his arm back. No, don't pull it out, the blood. You hear your doppelganger's voice mumble something. Won't lie to you, not about this. There's another wet sound, and the other Uzo's fist emerges from Izagi's chest. It's painted red with blood. Clutched in his hand is Izagi's beating heart. Izagi collapses to her knees and coughs, spattering blood across the floor. What happened in Elise's thing? I think we just stabbed her or something. She looks down at the gaping wound in her chest and tries to use both hands to staunch the blood pouring out. She looks up at the other Uzo, and you see him lifting the heart to his mouth. He takes a big bite, staining his cheeks with blood. Well, that's kind of metal. Sorry, did that hurt? His voice is flat and emotionless. Yes. He offers a blood-stained hand, as if to help Izagi up. She lifts a weak hand to his, and he pulls her to her feet. As she does, Izagi clutches her eyes shut in pain. When she opens them, the blood is gone from her doppelganger's face. The heart has disappeared too. What happened? I think I may have gone a little too far. Punched you right in the gut. Did you black out? Yeah, I think so. Sorry about that. It's, okay, I'm fine. Izagi clears her throat and looks down at her chest, then at her hands. What was that? Was it real? Izagi gazes at the other Uzo and you feel a shiver. You're without my heart. So what's next? I'm guessing we're done with punching. Kata, the forms. Here, I'll show you. Izagi slips into the stance that marks the beginning of the kata. We start with our elbows cocked back and our feet together. Then we rotate our feet. As Izagi recites the movements, her thoughts begin to pour in. It must be some kind of genius that they let him to Itsan with so little conditioning or training. Or his parents gave the academy an obscene donation to bump up his scores. I know I shouldn't judge other people for getting in because of their parents' names. God knows my parents tried to pull strings to get me admitted. But I didn't need that. I passed my exams like everyone else, and they didn't have to use all those little favors and bribes. God, I can't stand all these scholars. They think that all they need is to read a few books, memorize a few muscle groups, make a few cuts, and then they'll get to be immortal in a few years. Like this one, what was his name? UZO? Even if he did get here on his own merit, he probably thinks of this course as a formality before he gets to pick up his scalpel. Izagi reaches the middle point of the routine and extends her arms forward so that her fingertips are reaching out. The other UZO does the same, and his hands almost touch Izagi's. For a moment, her eyes glance down. His fingers are stupidly soft. Were mine ever like that? At least he's not afraid of being touched. Some of the girls still screamed they had to take a real punch. But he's still going to be dead weight for me. Every hour spent trying to keep his head above water is another hour that I can't work on my own training. If he doesn't learn fast, I'm gonna have to tighten the screws on him. Izagi finishes the kata, and so does her double. Any questions? No. Not right now. I think I just have to keep doing it over and over so I can memorize it. Try to have it memorized by tomorrow. Okay, I'll try. Good. I think that's all I have to go over today. You can practice the routine on your own until the end of class. Izagi turns away before the other UZO can respond and walks to the far side of the dojo, where she joins the other students who have finished teaching their juniors. She immediately starts stretching and walks over to a line of letter sacks hanging on the wall. Izagi takes a deep breath and starts punching them. If he learns fast and passes his first sparring test, Izam will probably let me go back to my own training. That saves a few months of being tied down with him. If I pass my sparring exam, that means I advance to higher courses, and I won't have to train anyone. I'm gonna have to really impress him during my match this semester. I'll let all the stops, a flawless showing. Izagi pauses and looks down at the lowest pin attached to her waist. It took me a year to get this back from him. Can't make any mistakes or fall behind, or else he'll hold it against me. Izagi slams her fist into the bag on the wall. God, I hope he doesn't hold me back out of my pettiness. He can't do that. It all comes down to my next exam. If I execute it perfectly, then he won't have any other choice than to pass me. Izagi turns around and peers across the dojo, through the throng of students scattered across the room. Her eyes find the other UZO still going through the motions of the kata. Even from this distance, you can see how clumsy and faltering your movements are. I'm fucking doomed. Sorry, Izagi. Izagi groans slightly to herself and sighs. No. I'm getting myself worked up again. I had to keep control of my emotions, channel them into something productive. Izagi turns back to the bags on the wall and takes up her stance. He won't hold me back. You open your eyes and find yourself in a frigid stone hallway. You recognize the masonry from Itsan Academy, but there's something strange about it. Is this the meeting? About my crimes? The shadows seem to jitter and shift. You feel a deep-seated sense of dread as you look out the door a few paces ahead. You can hear voices on the other side, but you can't make them out. Who are you? You spin around and find Izagi standing there. Izagi! UZO? You shouldn't. This is strange. This isn't how this went. You remember me though, right? And you remember everything that happened? Izagi's gaze goes blank for a moment. She grimaces, then closes her eyes. Is this after the meeting? Oh wait, no. I remember being on campus when the infection started. I remember seeing people being taken and burned. I remember the yurt by the river and... Izagi opens her eyes and raises them to meet yours. I'm dead, aren't I? Yes. Izagi's shoulders sag and her hands rise to hold her head. She lowers her face and sinks to her knees. She trails off and you hear her sniffle. Tears well up in her eyes and you see her shudder. Nothing I did. None of it mattered. Nothing. You walk closer to her and put a hand on her shoulder. You have expected her to shrug it off, but she doesn't seem to notice it. Teardrops quietly fall to the floor and Izagi's body shakes a little. You're surprised. You expected her reaction to be more violent or dramatic, but instead it's quiet. It's like she doesn't even have the energy to be upset. Finally, she wipes her face with her wrist and gives a shuddering sigh. Her hair still hangs around her face, obscuring it from view. What happened? What do you mean? The disease, the campus. Do you know what happened? It was... my mentor's research. That's how it started, at least. Root's flesh regeneration method ended up creating a disease that turned into cancer. Everyone on campus, they either got infected or died here. They wouldn't let anyone out. Well, that's not completely true, but... You're still alive, aren't you? I remember you being at the river. Still alive? I think I might be the only one. Where did you hide? I was underground. In Lazula. A lot of people got sick there too. The disease spread outside its town. Izagi raises her face to look at you, causing her to slide back from her cheeks. Her eyes are suspicious. How did you escape? I snuck out. Some of my memories are hazy. I did it, Izagi. I killed everyone. Izagi rises to her feet again and pushes you away. So you've been alive all this time, while I've been... Do you know how I died? Yes, you committed suicide with your sword out in the yurt. That's right. And in my last moments as I was bleeding out, thought about my family, everything I'd done in my short, pathetic life. I thought about how scared and lonely I was, how disgusted I was by whatever was spreading throughout my body. But I remember, the thing I thought about most of all was you. I don't like how she said you. She's mad. Super mad. She lowers her voice to say you, as if she's saying a dirty word. Even before the disease, I thought I wanted to die. Those last few days, all I did was lie in bed. And when I was bleeding out, the only solace I had was knowing that somewhere out there, you were dying, Alone and scared. Just like me. Oh, I'm sorry, Izagi. I'm so sorry. Izagi steps toward you and jabs a finger into your gut. But I guess I was wrong. You're the kind of person who will do anything to save their own neck. I should have known you'd find a way to survive. Izagi, What? What are you going to say? That's okay? That you should just accept everything that happened? I remember what you did. I remember everything that you said. Izagi looks around at the hallway, the door, and the benches against the wall. I remember this hallway. It's the last place I ever saw you. And I remember swearing that I'd never ever see you again. As Izagi shouts, you start to hear footsteps echoing down the hallway. Izagi stops and turns her head to look. Who's that? Walking down the hallways is another Izagi, just the same as the one in front of you. She passes by the other Izagi and walks to the door, and then presses her ear up against it. She's holding something small, but you can't quite see what it is. The Izagi in front of you watches her go with a look of surprise. What is... You're still in memory, and now we're both observers. You watch the Izagi near the door lift her face away from the wood, and stand there for a minute before walking away and rounding a corner. The Izagi in front of you turns to watch her as she goes. Spots something shiny dangling from her hand. I remember waiting for you to come out. Izagi's fists clench at her sides. You grab her shoulder and spin around. Izagi, listen to me. I didn't come here to try to make excuses or make everything right. Izagi grabs her arm and twists it outward, causing pain to shoot through her muscles. I don't want to hear your voice ever again. All you do is tell people what they want to hear, and I'm so sick of it. Whatever this is, just let me go back to being alone. It's better than having to see you again. Ah, that hurts. No, you can't. Izagi twists your arm harder, forcing you to your knees. You cry out in pain and try to wrestle yourself away from her, but her grip is too strong. I don't want to be trapped in here with you anymore. I hate you. You take a deep breath and shout. The conduct hearing was only the beginning. It was only the start. What happens after? You had to see what I did. Izagi's grip on your arm loosens slightly. You feel yourself start to breathe heavily. Why? What did you do? You have to know the whole story. That way when I say I'm sorry, you'll know what I'm apologizing for. Izagi silent for a while. So what do we do now? You look at the door a few paces away. You feel something stir in your gut, something deep inside you, telling you to run. I think the door is the next step. Now let's go. Izagi walks over to the door and grips the knob, and you follow. You wake up in your room on Sunday to find bright, cold sunlight pooling on your floor. You sigh and get up to light a fire. As you kneel down to stack the logs behind the grate, you notice a sealed letter sitting on the floor near the door. You frown and pick it up. You normally pick up mail from your box in the dorm lobby. The only letters that get slipped under your door are urgent ones. You turn over the envelope and see the seal of the academy, rendered in red wax. The letter. God, I had to do this again. You tear open the top of the envelope, and your eyes lose focus as you read the words again. You are hereby summoned to a hearing to discuss a recent inquiry into your academic conduct. Yep, there's a meeting. Potential burglary and accessory to theft. Cheating on a second exam. indecent conduct with a member of the Itan faculty. There is until the hearing pass in the haze as you go through the motions of preparing your speech. You remember this feeling, like you can feel what to do or say next, even though part of you knows this is only memory. You know you could do something different and diverge on the path you remember, but the pull of the past is inexorable. You find yourself following the old patterns. It feels like every word, every movement is etched into your soul. Is this how ghosts feel? You arrive outside the hearing room again and sit down. Hi, Lise. The door opens and Lise's tear-stained face appears. You feign surprise and try to call out to her. She ignores you and walks swiftly past. Is it gonna be the same dialogue? Let's see. No. You watch her go. They just told her she's expelled most likely, and that I cheated on her. Initiate Zeno. You turn and find one of your faculty panel members standing in the doorway. We're ready for you. Same dialogue? Oh, right. Thanks. You walk into the room beyond, then take the seat opposite from the head of the table. You see Master Izam sitting near the head, along with the Dean. The other seats are taken up by faculty members. Is it the same dialogue? The purpose of this hearing is to officially record the findings of an inquiry conducted by. Your eyes start to glaze over as the faculty member reads out the same material from your letter. The panel members ask you the same questions and you get the same answers. Okay, good, it's a summarization. As it stands, you're suspected of conspiring with Initiate UZO to gain a sample of blood substitute from the mummified remains of the scholar in the garden and presenting the modified substance as your own original work. Initiate UZO has denied participating in the break-in or vandalism, but her testimony has been found to be unconvincing. With this in mind, how do you respond to these allegations? I was not involved in any burglary and theft. I'm friends with Lise, but I was never involved in any illicit activities. As you recite the words, all you can think about is how much you hate staring at these faces. Izam, the Dean, and all the rest. You know you're the one who's putting you through this again. Now that you're back here again, all your frustration and hatred is for these people and the situation, not yourself. And the failure of replicating the blood substitutes. How do you propose to explain that? My formula can be unstable and difficult to replicate. If you like, I can try to recreate it myself. The Dean stares at you impassively for a few seconds, then clucks his tongue. I suppose we'll need to table this discussion for now. I can arrange a time for you to recreate your substitutes. However, we do have two other matters to discuss. One accusation of cheating on a sanctioned exam and one charge of personal misconduct. You stare at the Dean, dead-eyed. You don't know what it looks like from the outside, but you imagine your face looks like that of a corpse. I'd be happy to discuss either of those. Let's begin with the accusation of cheating. An anonymous member of the student body informed your instructor, Master Izam, that he saw a tattoo on your arm. The tattoo appeared to show notes for an upcoming anatomy exam, and seemed to appear when heat was applied to the skin. Evidently, Initiate UZO offered to create such tattoos for other students as a method of cheating during exams. Again, she has denied this, but once again, her testimony is proven to be unpersuasive. Especially after two other students admitted to having received such tattoos. How do you answer these allegations? When you speak, your voice is flat and emotionless. I'm going to take a guess and say that the anonymous tip comes from Tenza Hikari. Don't need to confirm or deny. Tenza started a small altercation with me a few weeks ago. He doesn't have much restraint or composure, as his recent troubles show. You grow to the whole lie, slowly deflecting suspicions from yourself back to toward Tenta. He can't help but admire it. So you deny the allegation categorically? I do, yes. I see. The Dean looks at Izam and at the other members of the hearing. We'll return to the matter of cheating later. For now, I want to discuss the third charge, misconduct toward your mentor. Over the past few months, you've been spending a large portion of your time assisting Professor Akazi. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. This is the one that sucked me. Who just kept her mouth shut and denied it. Do you want to tell us what you were doing during the night of March 18th? That night? I don't remember offhand. The groundskeeper says that he saw you leaving the lecture building with Professor Akazi at roughly 6 o'clock at night. Beforehand, he had confronted Professor Akazi in one of the empty classrooms, where she had claimed to be searching for some documents. While speaking to her, he noticed something strange. Professor Akazi was wearing a student's uniform jacket, one that had a research fellow's badge on it. You feel your muscles tighten. But what's more, after entering the classroom to clean, the groundskeeper discovered some bodily fluids. Whatever Professor Akazi, the fluids were found to belong to Professor Akazi and one other unidentified person. They're not mine. Absolutely not. Dean stares at you. His lips move. You don't hear the words coming out. Your mouth moves, but you don't hear those words either. All you can do is watch. Finally, you're able to focus on what the Dean is saying. That night, a few witnesses say you left the dojo, which was also closed at the time, with Initiate Ito. Izagi and I trained together. There's nothing inappropriate about that. You snuck into the dojo for your practice session. The Dean looks at you silently, moves a few papers around in front of him, looks down at a particular page, begins to recite from a transcript. Initiate Ito, are you friends with Initiate Zimi? Yes, we're friends. Would you say that you're more than friends? I don't know. Have you ever had intimate relations with Initiate Zimi? I have. Is your romantic relationship ongoing? Yes, I believe so. Does Initiate Zimi have any other partners? No. The Dean looks up from the page and folds his hands. Tell me, Initiate Zimi, are Initiate Bufo and Initiate Ito lying when they say they're romantically involved with you? Yes. I wonder. Will you accuse Professor Akazi of being a liar too? What? One of the faculty members stands up and walks to the door. They open it and softly call to someone in the hall. You sit staring at the stone faces of the faculty until Rue walks in. You have to watch the look on her face as the panel tells you you denied everything. You can see the moment when she breaks. You get to the part where they ask you to confess, deny it all. You tell them you'll have the fluid sample ready for their inspection tomorrow. You stand up along with everyone else, but only you step away from your seat. The faculty members watch you walk to the door and step outside. You raise your eyes to look down the hall and see someone sitting on the bench. Oh shit, Izagi's sitting on the bench now. When I looked at Izagi, it was Lee's on the bench, I think. As they stand up, you realize it's Izagi. There are tears in her eyes. She walks up to you and holds up an obsidian pendant. She drops at your feet and walks past you. You watch her go. After her footsteps fade away, you crouch down and pick up the pendant. You gaze at it for a second, glance up and down the hallway before sliding it into your pocket. Oh wait, the pendant seemed to happen before. Okay, just making sure. You stand there for minutes staring at nothing. Everything you said and done since your ride up Itson is cycling through your head. Every decision, every talk, and every intimate moment alone. At the same time, you can still imagine yourself back in the hearing room, answering questions about those same events. You can almost imagine them playing out the way you'd said, with you being innocent and uninvolved. On some level, you had to believe what you were saying, even for an hour. It's a strange feeling to hold both versions in your head. You think about what you could have said and done to prevent all this. You start to imagine it all, not as it was, but as it should have been. But as your mind tries to hold onto that vision, you feel something at the edges. The shame and the guilt, reality creeping back in, poisoning it all. Could it really have been different? Even if I didn't cheat, even if I didn't lie, it'd still be me. And I'm pathetic, hateful, and scared. In your mind, that beautiful image of a perfect chain of events unravels and you get a feeling of vertigo. Like you're standing at the edge of a cliff. Suddenly, something no eyes had said pops into your head. When you leave the mind alone with itself, truly alone, with no distractions, it will eat itself. When you make it back to your room, you don't feel the anger, terror, or the spiraling depression. You feel like you're outside of all that. You're just looking through the two holes in your eye sockets at what this UZO does, what he has to do. You watch him take a walk and slip into the dorms. You watch him wake up and speak to the faculty representative. UZO attacks the man and chokes him. Then he goes to the cafeteria to meet Tenta. You're tired of imagining how things could have gone. You're tired of everything. You don't want to be in this memory anymore. You can't look away. Finally, you're right back at the carriage carrying you out of Itson. By the time you get there, the tears won't stop. Your stomach hurts from crying. Can't imagine anything more miserable than this, or anything more painful. When you open your eyes, tears are still stinging in your eyes. You rest your face in the dirty hands and try to breathe. You can see Rue, Azagi, and Lisa's faces in your mind, smiling, talking, crying. You feel like you're still suspended somewhere between the past and the present. Finally, you lift your face from your hands. The library looms around you. The grimoire is on the table in front of you. One thought penetrates the haze of exhaustion and anxiety swirling in your head. It's not over. Oh boy, we gotta talk to Rue now. I bet she's really pissed. Let's stop there. Okay. Rue. Turn the page and look down at Rue's diagram. You inhale deeply. Rue. You remember sitting on the floor of her office, soaking the warmth of the fireplace as she drew out the anatomy of the human body on the floor. You remember how she smelled, like chalk and fresh mint. You remember her smile and her soft voice, her stutter, which had seemed so grating at first, slowly faded as she got more comfortable talking to you. You realize that you're smiling to yourself as you think of her. Your smile slowly fades as a flick of ash falls to the pages of the book. A big aching part of you wants your experience with Rue to stop there, keep as a pleasant memory. You can't do that anymore. You look over at the candles burning on the table and see that they're reaching the end of their wax. You get up and find another candelabra, then bring it back to the table, light it, and extinguish the match. You lean your head forward and whisper to the book. Rue Wakazi. The diagram on the page stops shifting and locks into place as an 8-pointed star. You feel the air around you become cold, and you catch a soft whispering at the edge of your hearing. A finger emerges from the grimoire, then the hand. The arm falls and you step away from the table as it gropes around blindly. Hi, Rue. After a few seconds, Rue's ghost manages to pull itself out of the book, and it drops off the table onto the floor. Where are we? Alone? Yeah, we're alone. We're in the central library at its own. Where is UZO Zini? You said you'd take me to him. In Lazula. I said I'd take you to him, and I have. You hesitate before going on. It's me, UZO. He stands there motionless, staring directly at you. You feel a shiver run through your body as you see the hatred in its 3 red eyes. UZO. You hold your breath. The ghost covers its face with its long fingers and shakes its head, muttering to itself. No, you're lying. You're trying to trick me. I'm not lying. Then show me your face. Take your mask off. Show me. You reach for the straps on your mask, but stop. I can't. If I don't wear it, then I'll breathe in more of the ash and then... You are a liar. You're not him. No, I'm not. I swear it's me. You reach into your satchel and search for something that you can show to Rue to prove that it's really you. Your hand falls on the battered secret set and you pull it out. You sit it down on the table and look at Rue's ghost. Remember when we played this? You were good at it, but I was just learning back then. Gotten better since then. A lot better. I know you. Better than almost anyone. I'll bet. So why don't... You fumble with the notebook from your bag and rip out a page. You carefully fold and tear the ragged edges so that the page becomes square. As the ghost watches in silence, you hastily fold an origami lotus. When you're finished, you hold out the paper lotus to Rue's ghost. You remember the lotus gambit, don't you? And I remember to stop here. I've run out of time. But if you are enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment what you think so far, who your favorite girl is, or if it changed. And if you want to watch more of this visual novel, please take a look at the playlist down below. If you want to watch other visual novels, please subscribe to the channel. It will help me a lot. Thank you, and take care.